right, so I think we should get this started. Thank you all, first off, for coming here. I, along with the other members of the Young Alumni Council at Cleveland State, really wanted to put this event on. This is the first of our 4 events this year. Our next event is coming up on April 7th, and that one's going to be a 5 under 35 event, whereby we're having 5 panelists come in that are graduates of Cleveland State to talk about their postgraduate work. But I'm super excited for today. Today we've got Katherine Miracle of Miracle Resources coming in to talk about a topic that is truly important to me, which is networking and personal branding. Ironically, I was at the Cleveland Playhouse Leadership Breakfast yesterday morning, and the director of the Cleveland Playhouse cited a recent study done by a research company called Sturgill Research, and 92% of executives of major corporations in this country believe that our young professionals aren't prepared for the workforce once they get out of college. And one of the main areas of improvement that they see is communication. And that's why I believe this event and bringing someone in to talk about networking and personal branding is truly important. And I believe everybody will enjoy Katherine Miracle. She's established in the community as a speaker, speaking for well over 100 companies on a litany of topics of marketing, personal branding, and networking. And so I'd like to just have a warm welcome for Katherine Miracle and let her talk.
Thank you, Nick. I'd like to ask the audience today, what is your strategic personal brand? Some of you are thinking, I have no idea, and that's okay. Because you've heard about personal branding, but today we're going to talk about strategic personal branding, and we're going to get a little help. Who knows who said these famous words? I call her the mother of strategic personal branding. Why? Even though she is currently deceased, and you may have seen some of her books turned into movies. Anybody have an idea who said these words? Jane Austen. So in our personal brand, we live in a society where people are pushing messages. It's constant, right? We see it all the time. What we're going to focus on is being strategic about it and using Jane's words. Now, for all of you today, I want you to know about this app. Maybe you don't feel like taking notes today, you'd like to just absorb. Feel free to use this app. This app has everything on it that you need. It is absolutely free. You don't even have to put your email in. There is a section called Resources, and everything I'm going to cover are in those sections. So feel free to use the app. It is called Your Miracle Resource. So let us begin. When we take a look at what we're going to cover today, I have some people in the room who are job seekers. I have some people in the room today who are students. I have some people in the room who are currently working. My goal is to help all of you. So you have a small piece of paper in front of you. If you have a question that you don't want to ask out loud, feel free to write down that question, and we'll collect those in the last 10 minutes of the presentation. Now, as you can see by my list, this is where we're going to go today. This is what we're going to cover. Now, as you can see, when we talk about branding and making it easy, I'm going to give you some great suggestions. I've been blessed to own a PR marketing firm where we hold a Fortune 500 company's brand in our hand. Our job is to protect it, to promote it, and to grow revenue with it. It's the same thing for individuals. It may not be the same dollar amounts, but something that you need to know, and that is the truth. The truth is you were branded, and you were probably branded as a child. How many of you remember in your family, a family member saying, oh, your brother was the athlete, your sister's the smart one, so-and-so's the pretty one? Okay, I see you guys shaking your head. You may have loved the brand that you received, and you may not. Sadly, sometimes people live out this brand. So today we're going to talk about the things that will help us to create that strategic personal brand. So we're not pushing, we're not boasting, we're not shameless self-promotion, but we get our word out there. Now take a look at my list. How many of you believe that you have brand ambassadors? Raise your hand. Very good. You all do. Brand ambassadors are the people who speak about you and convey communication about you. What you say about you, they will sometimes use. But here's an interesting point. Did you know they'll talk about you even if they're not educated about you. So our goal today is to take a look at that type of communication and actually create for ourselves a one-voice kit. And we'll talk about working with the media and social media and, of course, networking. So this is where we're going to go today. But the first thing I have on screen, as you can see, your questions are first. Raise your hand if you have a question at any time. Don't hold back. I will answer it. And again, if you don't feel like asking out loud, you can go ahead and write it on paper today. So I'm going to ask you to join me in my work world today. This is what I do every day. I'm going to put some words out to you, and you're going to help me create a brand. This is the American brand. So let's do my job, and I'll help you. German engineering, Amish craftsmanship, American, fill in the blank. American made, I heard. American dream, very good, okay. American education, we're very blessed. We have a great education system. What else? Some people say American Idol, that's okay. But do you see why it's hard to brand America? It's hard because we're so big. We're the melting pot, we're lots of things. Just like all of you, it's hard to brand yourself as one thing. Yes, I'm thankful when someone says she's a marketing guru, but they might forget the public relations side, which is another passion. They might forget that I write books. They might forget I'm an author. So I want you guys to think about it like this. You're lots of things. And when people meet you and talk with you, they're trying to gain how they can work with you, how you bring value. That's what a strategic personal brand is. So now let's take a look at the toughest question I'll ask you. If I put you on CNN or any international media outlet, and you could say whatever you wanted to the world, what would you say? Toughest question, isn't it? Not easy. We had a client who we had on CNN, and he said, what am I going to say to the world? Your strategic personal brand is best described, and please know, you might get this in 6 minutes, 6 weeks, 16 years. It takes time because you're so close to it. It's like cutting your own hair. So it took me a while to come up with my overarching strategic personal brand. These are the words that I would say if I was on CNN and my message to the world. It says, respect myself, respect others. Now, why did I choose this? Because it guides everything I do, whether I'm working on a marketing campaign, whether I'm speaking with you guys today, whether I'm having an interaction. Because I'll be honest with you, I wasn't always respectful of myself. Who are my entrepreneurs in the room? When I started my business, I didn't charge enough. I wanted to make sure that I had clients taken care of. And I took care of the people who worked for me, but I didn't make sure that I made enough. I had to change that. After I got my MBA, I had to be strategic. So part of respecting ourselves is to, again, take care of ourselves and use our voice. And that's part of strategic personal branding. It's not being boastful. It's not being shameless self-promotion. Now that you've seen mine, do I have anyone in this room who would be able to share theirs? Your strategic personal brand, that overarching quote that describes everything you do, every action you take. Okay, I'm going to be asking at the end, and I will be giving away a free book. So for those of you who aren't sure, take your time, because do you see how this guides you? And why is it important? Well, let's talk about social media. How many of you have seen someone who you know, or maybe a relative, post some crazy stuff on Facebook or Twitter? Raise your hand if you know, okay, why does this happen? The reason it happens is because they haven't taken the time to strategically personal brand. They're reacting. Had they had this quote, respect myself, respect others, they would stop and think. Now, why is this important? Because there are consequences for every action we take and every word we speak, correct? All right, so let's talk about this. I want you guys to realize, and I know you know, those of you who are grads, those of you who are still in school, and those who have your own business or working for someone else, you need a connection to a target market. And I work with people every day who say, it's really hard for me to find my connection. I want to network, I was told I should network, but I don't know how to make that connection. You cannot network at every networking opportunity. I'm sorry, there's no way. There's not enough hours in a day. So I want you to learn from my student who is now an entrepreneur. Her name is Crystal. Crystal is a fashion designer who designs costumes for professional ice skaters, those who are going into the Olympics. Now, because Crystal was a skater, she knows what is required in the costuming. She knows the judges. She knows the recitals. She knows where to find her target market. Now, you may not think that you can relate to Crystal because you might say to me, well, Katherine, that's great for Crystal, but what about me? I'm not connected to my target market. It's okay, because here's what networking teaches us. Power networking teaches us that we can attend things and go to things and get research so that way we can work with people and make sure that we understand. When I was 22 years old, I had a job where I sold major gifts. I secured major gifts for a nonprofit. I did not belong to the same country club as the people who were giving us money. I did not know and understand all of the ways of business that they did, but how did we connect? We connected on some very, very fundamental things, just like you with your target market. What's their need? See, when you network, it's not all about you. It's about what value you can bring. And I meet with many people, because you probably saw in my bio, I also teach college. I meet with many people who say, Mrs. Miracle, I really never thought I could bring anything to the table. Let me tell you about my mentor and I. I went to a seminar like you are at today, where I was asked to have a mentor for everything that I wanted in my life. To be a good mom, to be a good businesswoman, to be a woman of character, a woman of faith, a person who's a great marketer. I have 16 mentors. Those 16 mentors I secured in 1994, so long ago, still my mentors to this day. My mentor, Bill Denahan, who's head of the Alcohol, Drug, and Mental Health Services Board, Bill could pretty much open up his Rolodex and contact anyone, nationally as well. He is a CSU scholarship owner. He is from the Levin College. So proud of all of his accomplishments. So what can I, his lowly mentee, do for him? I help him with his social media. See, we all have needs, right? To me and to us in this room, social media seems so easy, right? But setting up his Facebook page meant the world to him. To me, it was easy. He can pick up the phone with anyone. So how do we connect? We connect by what we bring each other and how we build a relationship. So let's take a look. When we talk about us, it's no different than me taking a test drive. I never thought that I would be interested in a Jeep, but with our crazy winter weather, who knew? I took a test drive and thought, wow, really interested in this product. Friends, you can be test-driven. Here's how. By volunteering for things. You have the ability to meet people and engage with people by becoming a volunteer, by putting out a YouTube video tutorial, by writing a blog, by having a vlog, which is the video blog. You have information that people need, and you can help. That's how we test drive. So let's take a look at you. If we're marketing you, one of the things that I still do to this day is what is called a blitz. And a blitz is actually spending time face-to-face with someone. Sounds strange, right? Well, for example, when you want something, why wouldn't you stop by, say hello, drop something off? For those who are in job seekers, there are very few people who will drop something off. Now you're going to say they're just going to throw it in the file. You may be wrong. When we were in the process of hiring, our secretary would give me a red, yellow, or green piece of paper. When I came up to interview someone, what do you think those meant? Red was, I was watching this person in the waiting room, please do not hire them. And then we would talk about it and why. You have no idea the power you have with LinkedIn for those introductions, and use that tool well. But for all of us, blitzing means having still some face-to-face. Now you may say, the person that I want to meet, the person that I want to do what they're doing someday, how do I connect to them? They attend events, they attend fundraisers, buy a ticket and go. Go up and say hello. It works. Blitz really works. The next ones I'll show you are citizen marketing. I'm not asking you to call your friends and family tonight and market you. I'm asking you to ask them for advice. When we ask people for advice, they really read the things we give them. So instead of you sending me a resume and saying, hey, I know you know a lot of people, can you carry my resume? I don't want to do that. But if you say, Katherine, would you look at my resume? Does this look good to you? I've become educated about you. And then I can be your citizen marketer. The other part is video. Video is so powerful. If you're working on a unique project, pop in a quick video. We know with gifts, these are seconds of information. They're fun. Now, they don't always have to be the funny, kind of crazy ones. It can be a tutorial. It can be something that you do well. It could be something that's a project that you're working on. The other part is, let's talk about social media. How many of you love to be on a big group message on social media? Okay, you are great, because most of people tell me that when they're out in the community, they get on these big group emails, they want off, they get slammed. Why are we not direct messaging people and engaging with them and building a relationship rather than sending out a mass message that says, hey, I really need your help doing a job search? If I get a direct message, I know it's only written to me and I'll respond. So we need to think differently and strategically. Whether you're in a job currently or looking for a job, or you're a student, the power of writing to someone and inviting them or engaging them is not lost on social media unless we use a big mass message. That doesn't work. We've got to have that direct message. So let's take a look at second wave referral. Now, for all of you, you have what is called a second wave referral. A second wave referral is someone who shares a target market with you, but they're not a competitor. So I own a marketing PR firm. I like to get to know attorneys, and I like to get to know accountants. Why? Because attorneys, accountants, and us as a marketing PR firm all know what clients need for help. We're not competing, but we're going in second wave. So get out of your comfort zone. Those of you who are in the workplace, think about the second wave referral. Who knows your target market, but they're not a competitor? Can you even do an event together? That's a great way to market as well. So for those of you who own your own business, who are your alliances that share your target market, but you're not a competitor? Consider these. The other part is, we all hate taking surveys, let's be honest. But one of the fun things that we can do in a small way is to, again, create an event invitation, get some feedback from people. So engaging people online in a different way. So instead of a long survey, maybe consider doing an online focus group. It's really helpful. And for those of you who are in the workplace, you can use this, but those of you who are looking for a job, get some feedback. That's how you get people engaged. Ask their advice, ask their opinion. Now, for you, you see on my screen a picture of a beautiful home. I'm not sure everyone in the back can see it, but this is a home that the back of the house looks over Lake Erie, gorgeous home. My husband and I wanted to buy it. My husband was going to be doing some real estate in that area. It turned out that he was doing more real estate south of the area. We did not buy the home. But here's what I learned from the home. When you walked into it, there was one word you said, and that word was amazing. From the 2-story up entryway to the wood floors. Now, friends, here's the interesting thing that we can all learn from this. When someone meets you, a word pops into their mind, whether it's friendly or connected or engaged. What's the word that people think of when they meet you? Personal branding would push what you currently have. Strategic personal branding would say to you, I need to get some feedback on that. So here's your fun hall pass, just for you. I would like you to go home today. I'd like you to direct message at least 8 people. 8's my lucky number, so 8 people. And say to them, could you, in one word, describe me? You will learn so much. I'm not asking you to do a mass social media campaign. Just ask 8 people, what do they think? We need to know that one word that describes you. Friends, I've had people say they don't like the word that's been said. We have the power to change it. If we want that word, we have to say to people to describe us in that word, but not by telling them what to do, by engaging them in what to do. So we learn that whether you're selling a product, and how many of you are currently employed? You're working for an organization. You are a brand ambassador for that organization. What you say, post, and how you act reflects that company's brand. Can you say with your company in one word, like I shared with you? How many of you feel you could do that in one word? Okay, our problem in our corporations, because you only saw a couple hands go up, is we don't have that one word. That one word's that feeling that you get when you work with a brand, when you work with a product. Now some of you say, but I'm not a brand, I'm not a product. But you are. When people meet you, they see your brand as a promise, as a trust. It's your actions, like Jane Austen said. So let me say to you this. I'm interested in you developing what is called a one-voice kit. A one-voice kit is the words that describe you. So go home, get your 8 people on social media, direct message them to describe you in one word. Let's begin your one-voice kit. That one-voice kit is the key words that describe you. Frequently asked questions. They come up when people meet you, when they don't understand your job title, or they can't pronounce your name, or you have a name like I have, Miracle. When people say, Miracle, is that your last name? And I'll have a lot of people will say, do you own Miracle Salad Dressing Company, Miracle Whip? Now, instead of being demeaning, because I told you my strategic personal branding statement, which is respect myself, respect others. Instead of being demeaning and saying, oh, I hear that all the time, that breaks down the conversation. So I will laugh with them and say, yeah, I married the right guy. I got a good last name. So we have fun with it. But frequently asked questions are things people don't understand. They don't understand how to say your name, or they don't know what you do. They're not familiar with the job title. We have to make it easy for people. We want them to communicate with us, and we want them to talk about us. But if we give them no way to follow up with us, then we're not doing our job. That's not good networking. I do want you to understand there will be times that you need to keep calm and protect your brand. How many of you have ever seen the crazy Twitter wars? Raise your hand. Okay, even on Instagram, there's been some crazy things. I want you guys to set some Google alerts. Who knows what they are? Google alerts, great. Okay, Heather, because I've met you, can you tell us how much a Google alert costs? Absolutely nothing. So I have a Google alert set on my name. I have it set on marketing. I have it set on public relations. Here's why. That research comes to me in the form of an email. You, if you're going into an industry, need to have a Google alert set on the company you want to work for, the industry you're in, so you can quickly, daily look at the research. Now, you may see that there's something you're not interested in, just delete it. But Google alerts do your research for you. So if you're applying for a job at a company and you have a Google alert set on that company, you're going to know more than just what's on the website. You're going to see other things that come up. People I know have them set on their kids' names, so that way they can see what's written. You need to know when someone does a search on you, what comes up. So I'll call you a social media spy, just for the fun fact of knowing the research and understanding your industry. Okay, so let's take a look at some great stuff. Where are my job seekers in the room? Raise your hand if you're a job seeker. Okay. Let me tell you, in 2007, 2008, and 2009, when the economy was just awful, people were losing their jobs, I was asked by a friend to help job seekers market themselves. And it was a fascinating research project for me. Here's what I did, and here's how you can benefit from it. I had the opportunity to help people stand out. You have to remember the economy was in bad shape. Can you believe my slide? 1,400 people applying to be the janitor at a school. People were hurting. They wanted the job. How do you stand out against 1,400 people as the janitor? Anybody? Any ideas? Here's what the janitor did, the one who got the job. He spent the time every Thursday afternoon to go to the women's volleyball game, the girls' volleyball game for the high school that he wanted to be the janitor in. Why would he do that? Tell me. Anyone? Well, so he can see and understand the target market. He also made sure that he networked and let people know why he was there. He ended up sitting next to the superintendent's wife and talking in what we'll call return on investment terms. When you meet someone and they ask you your story, or they say, tell me about yourself. He didn't shamelessly self-promote, and he didn't just say his name and that he wanted the job. He said he had been in an industry where he did a lot of sourcing and was able to cut costs and had the contacts. He got the interview and got the job. 1,400 people. Because he did what I call blitz. He went. He got to know. That's what we have to do, and especially in a tough economy. Because I want to share some numbers with you. Cuyahoga County unemployment rate currently is 4%. Why do I have 16% next to it? Who else is kind of unemployed or underemployed? People who are Walmart greeters, people who are doing different jobs that they're looking for a job, but they're currently in a part-time job. They may be in a job, but they're still looking. So look at the job seeker community. It's pretty large. You have people who are actually in the market, but they're still looking. You're competing against them. So how do we learn from that? Here's what we do. I went to every industry, Northeast Ohio, to get ready for these seminars to help job seekers. And I want to share with you what I learned. And I updated my research about a year ago. And here's what C-level executives told me. Be ready. It's not good. They said that, Katherine, when I meet with people who are interviewing, they have what is called cookie cutter branding. They all tell me I'm a team player, but they don't show me they're a team player. They tell me that I can trust them, but they don't tell me a story of how they can be trusted. The other part is, they could tell there were people who just needed money. There were people who didn't even know anything about the company, maybe had looked at the website, but had not done the research or connected via LinkedIn. They didn't do the homework to get the job. And this, boring cover letters and resumes. By different industry, we have different ways of doing things. I'm in marketing, advertising, PR. I expect something super creative. In other industries, it may be a different standard that's used. But how do we find that out? We go to our experts, whether it's our career center, whether it is people who are in the industry that we ask. And for those of you who are currently working, why is it important we keep up our skills? Anyone?
So that you can continue to work.
Very good. And you in the back? Always learning, always growing. All of a sudden, oh yes, Heather. Pay it forward. You may have a unique opportunity. Keeping your skills up to speed, keeping your LinkedIn summary up to speed, keeping everything looking like that strategic personal brand. Because what did we learn from them? Stories. Don't tell me you're a team player, show me that. Tell me a story of how you were a team player. That's strategic personal branding, and that's great networking. So I put this little picture up for you. Can you guys see what's on the dog? It's a little heart. Do you see it in her markings? What they're looking for, and the C-level executives were clear with me, they want you to have heart. They want you to care about the business. They want you to give back. It's not that they want you to work 60 hours a week. They didn't say that to me. Here's what they said. They want people who care. They have an interest in the company. Take a look at what I have. People who can provide solutions. People that can cut costs. People that can increase revenue. What is your return on investment? So I'll ask you a very difficult question. If I say that I'm going to hire you for $80,000 a year, I'm going to put 20 grand into training for you, how much am I investing in you? $100,000. Okay, what do I get back? Is it okay if I ask you that question? It sure is, isn't it? I want to know what I get, and that's what the C-level executives shared with me, those who hire you. They didn't see what they get back. Now, why the One Voice Kit? Why the strategic personal branding? To figure that out, what you bring to the table. So let me help you a little bit. Brand ambassadors. Does this one look familiar to you right here? That's my daughter. She had the opportunity to work with Jim Tressel when Jim was at the University of Akron. Instead of just being a brand ambassador to promote the new app they created, they were engaged. Jim asked them their opinion, let them create events, engaged with them in a way that they felt part of the team. Could he have just released the app on his own? What about you? The next project you work on, the next thing that you need, bringing in people and not telling them what you need them to do, but engaging them. This is creating brand ambassadors. How many of you have maybe relatives who, when they introduce you, they say something embarrassing and stupid? Okay. How do we stop that? We ask them one simple question. If I was at an event with you, how would you like me to introduce you? And they'll tell you. 98% of the time, they will ask you, how would you like to be introduced? Here's a great example. I had 15 years with the March of Dimes, excellent career, amazing opportunity, had the ability to work with great people. But that was now 13 years ago. I've owned my own business. So if I'm attending a networking event, I don't really want to spend that much time on that. I want to talk about what I'm doing now, right? But people don't know that. So our job is to ask their advice, not tell them what to do. Because if you're introduced incorrectly, that can cause a brand disconnect. So let's learn from this. I believe every one of you needs the opportunity to alliance into an event that reflects your brand, something that you volunteer with. I had the opportunity to work with a car dealership, and I'm a big person on alliances. This is the greatest networking. When you're in an alliance, you're not alone, but you're working on a great event. So for those of you who are job seekers, you may not think you have time. Those of you who are working, you may not think you have time. But there are so many great charities out there that need help. So here's what we did. We took a car dealership that started off with Bentleys and, again, Porsches. And this small town that they were located in, people didn't buy those cars. They felt it was pretentious. See, they needed to do a target market study. When they came in with the new cars, the cars that the citizens would buy, what we did was we took a Japanese restaurant that was new, we did a service night for women, and we raised money for a women's organization. How fun, because everybody who worked on it got to showcase their talents. It was called Sushi, Sake, and Service. So those of you who want to do an event, you love a charity, but you just don't have the time to do it on your own, here's what happens. When you alliance, you have fun. Now please understand, this car dealer not only met people, but when people listened to the service director speak, they went to service their cars, and then what happened? You tell me the rest of the story. People bought cars from them. So how do we engage those of you who are out and networking and growing? I would love for you to consider doing something for charity that reflects your personal brand, engages your target audiences, and is fun for you to work on. This is a huge return on investment, because when you interview with people and you share that you put something like this together, and you don't have to start something new. This could be something that's currently existing. This could be the one thing that moves you up in the ladder of the resumes people are going to work with, because it connects you. Too many times I meet people who say, Katherine, I'm spending a lot of my networking time and marketing time online. And I agree with that. I think that's wonderful. But I also think it's important that you alliance in, get involved with something, so that way you can give back and get your name out there. So I'm going to ask you a tough question. Why do people get fired? What do you guys think? 98% of people get fired for what reason? There's a hint on there, SS. What is it?
Slack.
Soft skills. What are soft skills? Punctuality, attitude, communication, the things that I talk about. So I want to help you with some things. How many of you love to get a 16-paragraph email? You just can't wait to read it. Okay, let me share with you. If you write something that takes 3 minutes for someone to read, 5 minutes for you to write, you send it at the same time every week. Those of you who are employed, get that to your boss once a week. They don't have to go find you. It's called a 3 to 5. It will help you. Now I'm going to tell you about another one, and that's expectation agreements. Sometimes in our relationships and in networking, people have an expectation of you. But our problem is that we don't share that expectation. So can I delve into your dating life for a minute, just to prove a point? How many of you, best date of your life, best date you ever had? How soon should communication happen after that first date? That night. Okay, somebody else. Best date ever. When should communication happen? Anyone? 2 days after? Right after? Anybody else? Okay, we're all on different pages, aren't we? On what we think is real. I had the best date of my life. Went to Elton John, Katherine Miracle. Didn't call me, 5 days. By day 3, I'm out with somebody else. Now, why did I do that? Because I thought, maybe I thought it was fun, he didn't. Why did he wait 5 days? Because his friend told him the 5-day rule. Do you see how we constantly do these things? We have expectations, and people have expectations, whether it's personal or professional. Expectation agreements. What do we expect? I'm not saying for those who are job seekers that you have those with relatives and family members, but you need to be clear when you're in an interview. When are we going to follow up? Is it okay if I call you Tuesday at 5 o'clock? We don't communicate the expectation. And here's where a bigger problem comes in. When we build relationships for networking, and I need to tell you how I was taught to network. I was taught, go in, meet as many people as you can, get tons of business cards. Big mistake, that doesn't work. It's about building relationships. So I'm going to say to you, how many of you in the relationships that you have and you've grown, maybe have experienced something I experienced? I had a previous employee who I saw at an event. I had started my own company by then. She's very cold to me, didn't even really connect with me. And we had a good relationship. And I thought, what's wrong? 2 years later, I saw her at an event, and she had shared with me she was in a huge health crisis the last time I saw her. What kind of friend was I to wait 2 years? I should have done what I'll call the $1 million question. And that question is, did I say something or do something that offended you? Then she would have said what was going on with her. I could have been in her life. Do you see? This is our problem in our networking. We meet people and we take something from body language and we don't understand why. Look at your personal and professional relationships. Could the $1 million question help you? And here's another example. We had a client, great with all of our staff, but got real nasty with me. It's really strange. And the staff even said to me, I don't know what the deal is with him. We'll call him Frank, just for fun. We found out by me asking the $1 million question. I said, Frank, did I do something or say something that offended you? He said, Katherine, no. I'm going through a divorce and you look like my ex-wife. What did I learn, friends? I learned that by asking the question, it had nothing to do with me. I saved an account, got a relationship back on track. Part of our problem with networking is that we have expectations that go unfulfilled. We don't ask them, and then we also don't know some things. Here's another thing. How many of you, when you want something, you go for it? Raise your hand. How many of you, when you want something, engage other people to help you? Raise your hand. It is called the rule of three. The rule of three is if we can have someone send an email on our behalf, or make a phone call on our behalf, or even meet with someone on our behalf, that's why I want you to use LinkedIn. But I also want you to take the advice that I was given in 1994. Get yourself some mentors, people who can open doors for you. Do not try to do it on your own. This is the greatest thing when we network. Not everybody feels comfortable walking into a room where you don't know anyone, right? But rule of three can help us. We can have some preset people to meet us because of the mentors we engage with. So I'm going to talk about you and protecting your brand. We've spent a lot of time talking with you about some tips and some techniques and some resources to help you grow. But that brand that we're creating for you, you need to protect it. Here's an example. This is a picture of our office in Akron. Now you're going to say, wow, that's a different kind of office, right? The day we posted that, I had found out through a friend that it was said that Miracle Resources was $5,000 a minute to do your video. We have never charged that. And that rumor was floating. So instead of going after the person who said it, being nasty or causing a rant, what I did instead was did a Christmas special. That Christmas special was for $1,000 a minute video just until December 31st. Got 5 new clients for it, dispelled the rumor with class, confidence, and character. There will be times things are said you don't feel comfortable with. There will be times that you will hear a coworker say, oh my gosh, the boss is really mad at you. Well, instead of finding out who said the rumor and spending all that time, ask the $1 million question to the boss. Just curious, how am I doing? Am I meeting your expectations? All rumors dispelled. Do you see? Protecting your brand matters. It is called a PU, a positive update. I gave a positive update to dispel a rumor, and it helped me get clients. So how can you use that in everyday life? When these problems happen, think about the positive update. It makes all the difference in the world. Now, I'm going to put some things on screen, and I'm going to ask you a question. These are something that I had to learn the hard way. I told you about that seminar that I went to in 1994. I was very young, and at the time, my emails looked like this, if it was to my staff. I'll be there at 5, I'll see you guys there. Now, since the seminar, my emails look like this. Nick, I'm really excited to see you tomorrow morning. I'll be there at 10:30. Is there anything that you need? Nick then would feel significant. He would see a certainty in me because of the expectation that he would have would be met. We're growing, I'm contributing, as well as there's a connection. I'm telling how I feel. A lot of us, when we write, we're very, very clear and too direct. And our problem is that we need to show, especially in variety of communication. How many of you have ever applied for a position, not heard anything back? You send an email, you send an email, you send an email. What's my problem there? I showed you variety. What should we be doing? Maybe a phone call, maybe a letter, maybe inviting them to something, that alliance event that I talked with you about. People need variety. How many of you are text people? You love to text. Okay, how many of you are email people? Love email, like to put stuff in writing. How many of you are phone people? Love to talk on the phone. Love it, love it. Do you see all the hands that went up? Everybody's different. Your job, if you want that follow-up and you want that connection, especially to a future employer, is to use variety. The next one is trust. We have to establish trust. How do we do that? If I tell you I'm trustworthy, that's very different than telling you a story about how I was trustworthy. That's what we're really looking for. How many of you have a system of who you accept when you get a friend request? You have a set system of how you do it. How many of you have a set system for LinkedIn? What does LinkedIn tell you that you should know, like, and trust? You might know someone, may not trust them. You may even like them, but not trust them. Those are your contacts. So when we look at our relationship and the wow factor, the people who we meet that give us these, those are the people we're interested in spending more time with. So to create our strategic personal brand, we have to give those, don't we? Think about my old emails compared to my new emails and what they show. That's wow factor. So I'm going to ask you a question, and that question is that these are some things that you can do to create that strategic personal brand. Now, some of you may say, but I'm really not interested in creating news. I don't want to be on the news. That's not what I'm suggesting. When someone does a search on you, whether employed or not employed, or a student, what do I find on that search? If I go to page 8, which is traditionally where they'll go, some will go even further. What do I have out there? What's new? Am I doing an e-newsletter? Am I doing a blog? Am I doing a vlog? Do I have some human interests? And do I have some contests? Think about how you can engage. These are some great ways, some helpful ways, and they are on the app that I've provided to you. Now, when you're in a campaign, that's when we go for media. Those of you who are working as a volunteer on a project, raise your hand now. These are really good opportunities for you to get out there. To create news is to create a campaign. The campaign that I work on, America's Respect Revolution, provides respect resources. Why is this important? Because this is the #1 problem in the workplace. Do you remember what I told you? 98% of people get fired for soft skills. A lot of it has to do with respect. So for me, this is my campaign. Remember I asked you that question in the beginning? What is your strategic personal brand? What would your quote be? Yours campaign will probably go along with that quote that you create. So let's take a look at you. Networking versus strategic networking. Somebody tell me the difference. Do you know the difference? Anybody? Okay, here's the difference. Take a look at my slide. When we're identifying, by doing our research and our Google alerts, specific people in industries we want to meet, we are then researching them and looking at the best in advertising. It's a company you want to work for, a person you want to meet. What are they advertising in? Where do they live, work, and play? Remember what I told you when I was securing those major gifts? Huge amounts of money. People belong to a country club I didn't belong to. I was young. They drove a different kind of car than I did. But how did I connect with them? Where did they live, work, and play? Google Alerts can provide that for us. We can engage with people in a unique way. So I'm going to ask you a tough question. Looking at my screen, who would you talk to if you were attending this networking event? Point to the person or tell me what they're wearing. Who would you talk with? Anyone? You're walking into a room, you don't know anyone. You know no one. Who would you engage with based on my screen? No wrong answer, just tell me. Yes, Taylor. Right here. Anybody else? Raise your hand if you agree. Okay, who else has a different one? Right here? Right there. Okay, who else? Someone different. Who did you pick?
The dark skinned guy, he has no hair, older, he's in the middle. Yeah.
Do you guys see where I'm going with this? Each one of us picks different people based on comfort. I'm guessing that she in the white with the long hair has welcome. Taylor, he's smiling, total engagement. Now, this gentleman, most people pick, he looks like the most influential person in the room. But right here could be the most influential person in the room. So here's what we learned from this. When we smile, when we have open body language, like the gentleman in the tie, you picked the guy I kind of wanted you guys to pick. Most people pick him, here's why. He's open and he's smiling. We have to remember that when we go to networking events. If we're closed off and we're talking to people, we're not exhibiting, hey, come say hi to me. How many of you, I came up and shook your hand before this presentation? Almost everybody. A couple of you I didn't see. Why did I do that? I wanted to make a connection. I love meeting new people, but it also gave off oxytocin in you, the trust hormone. It made you welcome, and by seeing me and shaking my hand, hopefully feeling more comfortable with me as I come up to present. So some of you I didn't get to, and I apologize, but I always try to say hello to everyone. It's what we project in our body language that helps us engage with people in networking. It's scary to go into a room where you know no one. I get it, I understand. But when you know what role you play, I play the role of, let me introduce you to someone you haven't met. I love that role. I see somebody by themselves, I like to engage them with other people. People come back to me and talk with me and engage with me. They see a value in me because I do that. But the reason I do it, it's the role that I play. It's where I feel comfortable. For some of you, the role that you will play is a very, very much one-on-one. Now, we have to be strategic in who we speak with, don't we? I see people at networking events that will spend a ton of time with wait staff. I love wait staff. I love to say hi, but I need to talk with people and I need to identify. I can't go to every networking event, especially with speaking business. I do some traveling. I have to be strategic on where I go. So I'm already identifying, and I'm not afraid to go up to the guest list when I arrive and say, have you seen the people from XYZ company? And they'll say, oh yeah, they're over there by the bar. Bingo. I'm over there saying hello. I've got my Google alerts set so I know what to say other than, hey, how you doing today? What's the weather like? Ladies, how do we engage when we network? We compliment each other. We say, I like your earrings, or I like your purse, and it's real. It should be genuine, don't fake it. Guys, how do you network? How do you engage? It's usually sports or events, right? Or local news, right? Okay, so I see you guys shaking your head, good. All right, let's learn from this. I'm gonna give you some things that you can say, feel free, these are on the resources. These are some things you can say in networking. A lot of people say, you know, Katherine, I just don't know what to say when I'm networking. Work these in. Now, some of you may say, but I won't want to offer my help to someone based on this slide. You know, what about this? I need to think about what I'm saying and how it'll impact someone. What's my motivation for saying it? Sometimes we say things, and our problem is we haven't thought it through. So if someone was going to get fired, I would use this list, wouldn't I? I would think, how will this impact them? I would also think, how will they impact me? Then I would think, what's my motivation and what am I trying to accomplish? It's the same thing when we network. See, we'll take the time to do this when we deliver bad news, but we need to think about what we're going to say in networking so that way we can build the relationship. That's the key. Perception is everything, and I will tell you my story so you know. I was a networker who was taught to go and meet as many people as possible. I was like a machine, right? Well, I learned something one day shopping for shoes. I was looking at shoes, and a woman comes up to me and says, I'd like these shoes in a size 10. And I said, I don't work here. She said, well, you need to look like you're doing something because you look like you work here. 2 words came to my mind, but I didn't say them. You know what they are. I thought, what is this? Why is this happening to me? This is crazy. Then we have a client who has designs, and they had models in the Canton Pro Football Hall of Fame fashion show. This is like 3,000 women, general admission seating. I walk in and I get seated in the front row. Why? Then I went to a wedding, wasn't a relative. People came up and asked me, where do people sit? I realized I'm giving off something that looks like I'm in charge or that I'm too formal. But you might think, okay, well, that was cool. You got that front seat. Why didn't you just go with it? Because I also noticed when I was speaking that people sometimes would come up and say, I know you're really busy. They got the too formal. So as a speaker, I started making fun of myself, like you've heard me do. Started doing more stuff where we laugh, some more interaction. When I first started speaking, it was very much, we will do this and we will accomplish this. I didn't ask any questions. If I wanted people to engage with me and feel welcome with me, I had to change. I had to change the perception of what I was giving off. So a simple shopping trip, a fashion show, and a wedding taught me there were some things I needed to do with my strategic personal brand. How many of you, take a look at my slide, know someone who messes this up? They tell you they're really professional, but they have an issue. Now, Heather, we're not going to say names, but can you tell me, do they mess up in etiquette, body language, vocabulary, color choice, or writing style?
I see most often body language and vocabulary.
Okay. So, when I told you about the crazy lady I met at Macy's and how she acted and how she flipped her head and told me that I should look like I'm doing something, that body language is that fight language. Sometimes our body language says a lot about us. Can I have a volunteer? Come on up. Okay, so if we shake hands and I say to you, it's nice meeting you, what am I saying? Look at my arm. I'm having this arm down low, so it's like I'm above you. Now, if I say, it's so nice to meet you, what am I saying? I know someone who actually pulls people in. So I want to share with you, this is something we need to have what we'll call a friend. If you and I were going to a networking event, I would say, watch me, and I'll watch you, and we give each other feedback. There's little stuff that we do, especially in body language, that we don't know we're doing. You did a great job. Let's clap for him. Thanks for volunteering. Okay, so let's talk about you guys in networking. In this slide, you can see the thing I hate the most. And I apologize because the slide may be a little bit dark. Do you guys remember this? It's from Seinfeld. What was the episode? Yell it out. The close talker. It's my biggest pet peeve. Okay, my pet peeve, I will actually back up. Like literally, it's just too close, right? What are your pet peeves in the body language piece? Anybody? We may not realize we're doing it. So we, again, pick a friend, go to networking together. It will help you. Now, before I take questions, how many of you struggle with the introduction, how you introduce yourself? Like someone says, hey, tell us about yourself, or introduce yourself, and your heart starts racing, right? So talk to me. Who needs help with their introduction? I want to give you these three. Purpose, passion, proof. I hear graphic designers all the time, and they'll say, I'm a graphic designer. That tells me nothing. When you say, I'm a graphic designer, I love doing anime. I love doing illustration. I'm currently working on a project that's going to be shipped up to Marvel. I now have a story about you. I know what you love, why you love to do it, and your body language picks up when you say your passion. So from now on, don't just say, hi, my name is, and here's what I do. Purpose, passion, proof. Tell a story. That makes you exciting. Now, some of you are looking for things to say at networking. These are great. Now, I know what you may say, but how can I help you? What did I teach you about my mentor? He can pick up the phone to anyone. I mean, he's so connected, but I helped him with Facebook, and it was like a big deal to him. You can help people with stuff. You have those opportunities. Don't be afraid to use these. A great intro as well is to say, what are you trying to accomplish in the next year? You know, what is your target market? What kind of challenges are you facing? These are great interactions when appropriate, okay? So again, if we're at a family wedding or a funeral, that's probably not gonna work. We're talking about a business networking. These are great to work with on people. And again, lastly, our follow-up before I take questions. Many people do not follow up with these great people that you meet. Let me share something with you. A very unique thank you gift is something really cool and not expensive. It could be something that you give to people that reflects your strategic personal brand, something exciting that they would like to receive. Friends, let me just be honest with you. The nice handwritten thank you note is still a unique gift because not many people do it anymore. And when you write something that's heartfelt and something that someone would want to put on their shelf, that's an amazing gift. And too often we forget, we just send an email. And remember what I told you about rule of 3. We follow up with people, but we need to engage with them. So in our remaining minutes together, let me just share with you that I want to take the time to answer any questions that you have. And do you guys want to ask questions that stay on video, or do you want to turn off video and ask questions without video? You guys are open. Okay, very good. Then let me end with this before we take questions. I had the opportunity to learn from someone truly amazing. Her name is Anna. Anna, at 17, not much younger than some of you, at 17 years old, worked at a gas station in the late 70s, early 80s, when gas stations were gross with oil slicks on the floor. Disgusting. You'd never go to the bathroom. Not like today. Anna asked her boss, can we bring in bananas and make coffee to make it nice for our customers? She instituted her strategic personal brand, caring for customers, into that gas station. They did it till one day a guy comes in, peels a banana, leaves it on the floor and walks out. And Anna says, enough. Because Anna says, we have more of a problem because of the perception of the gas station. Anna, at 17, cleans everything, trains even people who are 40s and their 50s on the new look, the new way the gas station would be. Anna is now 52, and you probably bought gas at one of those gas stations this month. 17 years old, took the strategic personal brand, her quote, to make things beautiful wherever she is, got the okay from the boss, changed the company. So I took this picture for Anna. It's of irises, which is the flower of loyalty. What you don't know is this was taken, this picture, between a crack house and a KFC, Cleveland. You wouldn't know that though, would you? It's the beauty that's planted there. So let me leave you with everything that we've talked about today. Reflect your personal brand the way that Anna did. Create it, engage it, make the world a better place because of it. That's why I'm here today. Thank you. Okay, I have 2 things before we ask questions. I would like to ask someone, because I'd like to give one book away, someone who gave the quote that I gave right in the beginning. Who is the person? Come on up, Taylor. You're winning a book. It is called Your Strategic Personal Brand. I am also giving a book to Nick because Nick is the reason I am here. Everybody give Nick a huge round of applause. Thank you, Taylor. I want to take a picture with you later with it. Nick, come on up. Okay, time for questions. And again, Nick, thank you. You put this all together. It's a lot of work getting everybody here. Thank you so much. Okay, questions. Okay. Okay, how do I stay in contact with my mentors? Great question. There's 16 of them. I do not have a set plan for each one the same. There are some mentors that we communicate during the holidays. We actually spend family time together. Our families get together. There are some of my mentors who we recommend books. We send each other emails. One of my mentors was just in the paper for a huge award he won. Of course, Miracle Resources will be buying a table for that. So see, each mentor is different. I believe in variety, so it's not the same for everyone. What are some advice that I can give on maintaining those positive relationships within your mentors? Set Google Alerts on their names so you know what's going on. Because if they win an award and I'm not there, I would feel horrible. I'm their mentee. What do I do after collecting strategic contacts? Some people you will turn into mentors because you want that relationship. Some of those strategic contacts are going to be people who maybe you have some coffee with, you exchange some information. But if you have a Google alert set on that person and they're doing unique things, let's say they win an award, again, stay in touch with them. Not everyone you meet in a networking event is going to be in your life, okay? We got to be strategic. We live in a world where it's okay to have thousands of likes, and we base importance on that. And I'm going to tell you, as a marketing firm, I'm about getting contracts for my clients. It's not as many followers unless it's a B2C company, business to consumer. So let me share with you. You only have so many hours in a day. Be strategic. Okay, other questions? Yes? A Google alert. I want to tell you the funnest way to do it. You go into Google, type in, how do I set a Google alert? They have a quick video, it's like a minute, and it'll show you how to set it up, and you can even do for frequency. But can you imagine it doing the research, scanning all the videos, all the news, all the blogs to find out everything you want? And also, friends, if you do not have a Google alert on your name, you need one. Here's why. If there is someone who does bad things that has your name, we can then brand you with your name and your middle initial. I do it with my students all the time. They'll say, Miss Miracle, I found from the Google alert someone has my name and they're bad. All right, well then let's brand you with that middle initial, the resume has the middle initial, the Facebook page, all of that. So I want to share with you that that's important for you to know, because in a search, it's not their fault on what they land on. It's our protection of our brand. Okay, other questions? The greatest method to ask someone to be your mentor, and I want to share with you, I didn't always do this right, so I'm hoping this is going to really help you guys. I think it's important that you need to see a reciprocal relationship. If there's something that you can do for them, there's something that you can do together. The first question when you ask someone to be your mentor, they're going to ask you, what does that entail? What does that mean? How often do we need to meet? With me, I've always kept it extremely fluid. I've always said, I would love for you to be my mentor. It's important for me to help you. What do you need help with? And my mentors will say things like, hey, I just want to bounce some marketing ideas off of you. Or Catherine, can you help me with social media? Or Catherine, I'm really interested in helping you with what you're doing. They may not want the reciprocal, but I think it's important to offer that, because it shouldn't just all be about you. It's a relationship. And it's an honor for someone to say it. Like, I'm at the age now where people will say, I consider you my mentor. And it's like, wow, thank you so much. But what does that mean? Like, if somebody says that, I want to follow up with, well what do you need? If you're going to call me your mentor, what does that entail? So you have to be ready with that answer. And for each relationship, it's different. One of my mentors, we see each other every summer and have lunch. Most of the others, we're communicating a lot. Some of my mentors are retired as well, so the once-a-year lunch works well. Did that answer your question? Good, thank you. Okay, who else? Other questions? Good. Nick, where are you? Nick. Other questions? All right, well, I want to thank you so very much. I appreciate it. I know Nick might have some follow-up items that he wants to share with you. And again, did I get everybody's piece of paper in case I want to make sure we answered all the questions of the day? Great. Thank you so much. Thank you for being here. I'm going to turn it over to Nick.
Thank you very much. We were so excited for you to come.
Thank you.
Young Alumni Council.
Thank you so much.
It was fantastic. I just want to talk to you briefly before we take off. There's a couple pieces of literature out there. One is a calendar of the upcoming events of the 1964 Society, the Young Alumni Council, and other events that are going to be happening on campus in the next 4 months. So I think it's important to take one of these with you. Our event is coming up on April 7th. It's going to be a 5 under 35 panel. The other one is, if you're still a student here, the 1964 Society is the organization for students to get involved and active and meet other students. So I think that's important as a student to then transition into some of the works that we heard about today, the charitable organizations, but you can do that now. I want to thank again everybody for coming here. I want to thank the Alumni Association, the Young Alumni Council, Katherine Miracle for coming, and all of our support staff. So thanks guys, have a great day.